Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Casa podcast. We're back again here at the Tribe with another amazing episode of the podcast. This season, we're very lucky. Our conversation keeps going. The conversation keeps going. Last week, we ended our conversation on in anticipation of what the rollout of the AI world and the AI wars was going to look like. This week, we're lucky enough to experience the full rollout of the AI, augmented search engines, and all that. And we're super excited to be back to do another episode we probably didn't think would do so fast. But I have the tribe in the house. I've got I've got if you're your boy in the house, Kwesi Frost is in the house, and Chris is back. Guys, how you guys doing? How you guys doing? AY,
Very good.
AY put a mic off. Or is it a bot that came to turn off your mic, AY?
Oh
how
my
was the week for you
goodness.
guys? How was the week for you guys?
It
AY, how
was
was your week?
okay. It was okay. I mean, one regular week, it was fine.
Hmm. Mr. Frost, how was your week?
Oh, it's great. It was great. Can't complain.
Did you do anything fun for Valentine? I'll come back and ask you guys. Did anyone do anything fun
Yeah.
for Valentine's Day?
Because he's who you
Yeah,
should ask because he's married.
yeah.
What
I
did you do
stayed
for?
home. I stayed home
No.
and
You
Mhm.
watched
can't do
watched
this.
the
Why did you stay
movie.
home?
Where am I supposed to go? Where am I supposed to go? We don't really do the whole vows day thing, so you know
Interesting.
Okay.
we do other major ones
Chris.
every day.
Okay. Chris, you've been away for a minute. How have you been? How have you been?
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Nice.
I can
nice,
tell.
nice. So, guys,
How can you tell?
uh-huh.
You're glowing. Naveem, You're glowing.
Okay, guys, we're going to get back into the conversation. I am sure you guys remember very well where it ended. But before we do,
Mhm.
if you're watching the live stream, or even if you're watching the playback, and you did something exciting this Valentine's Day, let us know in the comment section. Go and leave a comment. Let us know what you did and how fun it was, and let us know. I hope you guys are having fun. Unlike if you're your boy Chris and Quincy Frost, who are doing absolutely nothing for their Valentine, like boring Valentine's people.
Wait. Staying
I
at
did
home is
something.
something.
I
Hey,
did something.
Exactly. You didn't
hey,
ask what we did
Okay,
for our
okay.
I
vows. What
asked,
I
I
say.
asked, I
You didn't
asked. And
ask
no,
me.
okay,
You
why?
know.
What did you do for your Valentines?
Um.
There we go. There we go again.
What
You
did you
know,
do? You said I didn't
I
ask. Now
wouldn't.
I
I
asked.
wouldn't want to. Whet you guys' appetites.
Dude,
You
it's
know.
past. It's not in the future.
So
So there's no appetite whetted here.
I did nothing. I did nothing. But that is something. Actually, being in bed is a
Mm.
lot, and
You
I
did
actually
Banco.
worked. That's a lot. I did. I was too tired that day.
Hmm.
I drive a long distance to work and everything. So yeah, that's all I
Ew.
did. Work.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is all AY was trying so hard to let you know. She was literally trying to turn down the show, like bust everything, like destroy
No,
everything
I
because we
meant
didn't
I
let her tell
did
you. She
something
did
that is
nothing.
work.
And Chris said he did something too, even though it's not the main theme of our podcast today. Chris, what did you do? What exactly did you get into?
I had a wonderful class.
At this
Wait,
point,
you taught a class or you
he
went to
took a
class?
class. He went to school.
I
Oh,
went
you
to
did.
school. It was a nice class. Yeah.
It
Uh,
might be
Oh my
it might be
listen,
the first man that
li-
I've seen that probably said that I like school. I went to school on Valentine's Day.
listen. He didn't want to start the show off on a very not so bright note, right? So because you guys did nothing, I'm going to tell you what I did. I actually did something. I did something. In fact, my Valentine was wonderful.
Yeah,
Tell
we
us
know.
more. What was it?
Oh, Chrissy said
Yeah.
he knows. So
He had a conversation with an AI.
That is not nice, Quizzy. That is not nice. Save that for Song and Kwame when they attack you. I have done nothing to you.
I got something for them. I got something for all of them.
All right, all right. And so we're going to get into the conversation, and this was just a light-hearted way of starting this very important conversation. And like I said, this is an episode we really didn't think we would have to revisit this far, but given how the conversation went last week and the things we have learned in the last couple of days, I'm sure even on this podcast alone, amongst ourselves, the amount of emails and links and stuff I've sent to these guys, and all the stories and podcasts I've sent your way, it just felt right to come back and have a lot more conversation about AI and the way it's going to be used and applied in our daily lives and what it actually is going to mean to us. And so I'm super excited to get back into the conversation. And if you're here and you haven't done that yet, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if your friends are not here, don't forget to hit that share button. If you hit that share button right now, they would be able to join this wonderful conversation about the real impacts AI is going to have on our daily lives. Now, guys, let's get into this. There's a lot that went on this week. Last week on our show, we talked about how Microsoft and Google had basically declared war on this AI arms race. And so much happened. AY, briefly, what were some of the big takeaways in terms of, the rollout and all this AI news that you had during the week?
This week or before this week?
No, just this week. Like,
this week. Then I think we had too much expectation for this AI. That's what I think. Like, we were overly excited. We thought this is the supernatural human being. Like, Chat GPT was like my bestie it's still my bestie, but
and guys, I want you to take note of that. That statement is going to come in handy. Was my bestie or is still my bestie? That bestie thing will come up again. But
so yeah, we thought it was like everything, and everyone was thinking, oh, this is this has never happened before, and we're just going crazy instead of really looking at what exactly it was, right? So I think now we are done with the excitement and the knee-jerk reaction. He is here to take our jobs, he's here to do this and that and that, and now we are back to reality. What exactly the AI is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Frost, I know you've been following. I know you were in the conversation. I know you've been seeing stuff. What was your take on the week and all that unfolded in the tech world?
2 + 2 is equal to 5.
And I'm going to insist until you change your answer.
Yeah, it's no longer 4. But yeah, see, it's a machine, right? It's a machine. The human being created it. It has it's a database, right? It's pulling its knowledge from a database of what it's being dumped, like a data dump, right? So I mean, I don't know why people are surprised, because if your data dump has a lot of bad stuff, wrong info, whatever. I mean, if I talk to the AI, I say, hey, how do you get to maybe Kumasi from Accra, right? And if somebody had put stuff in there that says, well, you got to go through the UK and go to Jamaica before you get there, that is what it's going to tell me, right? So I think we should lower our expectations and try to fix it, right? Hope for the better. So we can fix it, because we can actually use it for good stuff, right?
Good stuff, man. Lower expectations and fix it. And I think you guys are laying down the groundwork for the main conversation we're going to have. It looks like you've touched on a few things that the entire episode is actually going to try and unpack. Let me go to Chris. Dr. Kwechinya, what was your take? What was your overall impression?
Well, I mean, first of all, this whole AI stuff is doing a lot, right? But we just have to understand that humans are the ones that train these AI
Mm.
stuff.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
yeah, so
Mhm.
it still hasn't gotten to that level yet.
Mm.
So
Mm.
there's still a lot to learn,
Mhm.
a lot to explore,
Mhm.
and I think with time it will get there. But I mean,
Mhm.
for now, it's still helping
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
do, but definitely it's not perfect. There are some mistakes in there, and so what's well, I mean, what I learned this week was that it still has a lot to learn
Mm.
Mm.
and a
Mm.
few things to correct.
Mm.
Because I think the more people use it, the
Mhm.
more holes we see, or the
Mhm.
more flaws we see in this AI stuff,
Mhm.
and then it will be corrected. Yeah.
Mm. Interesting. There's
When
still a
you
lot
say,
to
wait,
learn.
Chris, when you
Mhm.
say it has to get there, what way? Like, which level are you talking about?
I mean that perfection
Mm.
where we know if
Mm-hmm.
we ask the AI stuff a particular info, it sticks with the facts,
Mm.
right? We cannot alter the
Mhm.
facts in
Mhm.
the AI system,
Mhm.
right? For example, when Chrissy first was talking about the 2 plus 2 is 5,
Mm-hmm.
right? It should get to a point where when you ask it 2 plus 2, it's 4. No matter how you try to
Hmm.
alter
Yep.
the
Mm-hmm.
results, it
Yep.
tells you
Yep.
it is
Yep.
4.
I
Mm.
don't think
You
Yep.
it's
understand?
going to get there though.
But that's where we want to go, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean
Why?
that's
That's
what
where we
I'm
want to
that,
So
go.
so
Then
that's
it
what I'm
defeats
talking.
the purpose, right? Because AI is what you feed. I mean, that's what I think. You guys
mm.
don't get me wrong.
No, but
Interesting.
But the
efficiency
way I'm
is what
coming,
we're looking for, right?
it's efficient, right? But what we say, the basis of it is what we feed it. That's what it's going to give us, right?
Hmm.
So if someone is feeding it, 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. It's not a calculable. I don't know. I just feel like if it gets to a point where we cannot tell it, things have changed now. Like it, it's not going to be
So
rigid.
so
Like
so
that's
I
what
get
I.
I get
It's
I
like
get
if
I
you
get
guys
with
wanted
your
to get to the point where
Mhm.
it tells you this is it. It's like you are
Mhm.
rationalizing it.
so I
So
mean
so mhm.
when you compare it to a calculator, right? The
Yeah.
manufacturers or the builders program it to give you 2 plus 2 is 4. You understand? We the users must be able to get like the facts out of it. The
Mm.
builders are the ones supposed to feed it with the appropriate reinforcement learning or whatever learning it has to learn. You understand?
Hmm.
We, the users, must get the facts out of the AI stuff.
Hmm.
We
We
shouldn't be
need
reprogramming it.
we need
You can't,
gatekeepers.
You
Okay.
you
see,
can't,
then
you
it's
can't.
changed, right? Because the idea
Guys,
is
wait.
we are all
AY,
helping.
wait. Let's. I think the conversation you guys are trying to have probably would be at the tail end of the of the podcast, right? Which is what can it actually become? Because I think AY and she's raising some very good points as to should it be malleable enough to be helpful? Because if you give us a very rigid artificial intelligence and it's not learning and it's not developing and it's not serving a particular user's needs, then it is just like a calculator, right? But we
Mm.
training it would require some malleability. But let's go all the way to the start. Let's understand one what it is, what it is designed to be, where we're at now, and then maybe AY your question will take more, will get more flesh on the bone, and then you and Chris can pick that bone down the line. I think I want to hear the rest of that debate. But back to the very start, what are LLMs and like ChatGPT, Bing, Lambda, all these chat boxes, right? Not going too technical with the architecture, but briefly, what do we think they are? Do we have an idea what these
I mean,
language learning models
I,
really are?
I mean, they're supposed to aid us, right?
Mm,
They help us, right? That's
mm,
how I see it.
mm,
Make
Mm-hmm.
efficiency is
mhm,
it's what we're looking for, right?
mm, mm,
It's like when you take example is no human being. To
mhm,
me, no human being can do math faster,
mhm,
better accurately than Microsoft Excel or
mm,
whatever. Like when you put
mm,
in it, right?
mhm,
If you want to do accounting, what no human being can sit there and whatever, it's
mhm,
faster, right? You
mhm,
you hit equals to, This
And then
is
it.
the formula.
Mhm,
Boom, it brings it out like that,
mhm,
right? You do a
mhm,
VLOOKUP quick like that. Second is just snap of fingers, go.
mm,
No
mm,
human being can do that, right? If
mm.
human beings were doing that and we didn't have Excel, right? The work that Excel can do in an hour is gonna take us like a week or whatever to do. So
Okay.
we we're building efficiency here, right?
Mm,
We've cut that time, the manual,
okay.
whatever, and it's cut it, right? So back to AI, I think it's great. It will help us
Mhm,
efficiency even in medicine, right?
mhm,
Few years ago, when if you rupture your appendix, right,
mhm,
they had to cut you
mhm,
to fix it. Now what did they do? They drill like two, sometimes even one, two, three holes, and use robotics. But even the robotics is a human being controlling the machine,
mm,
right?
mm,
The robot has helped surgeons
mm,
do it in 30 minutes,
mm.
right?
Okay.
30 minutes tops, it's gone. And they don't cut you, you don't have no scar on your bikini line or your wherever, you don't, it's just a hole, the patch it, it's gone,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
So I think we should see for what it is and
mm.
improve it, and it will help. It will make our lives easier,
Better.
right?
Mm.
It makes our
Okay.
lives better.
Okay. So back to we should see for what it is. I want to outline a few things, right? And you guys can add on to it. But number one, these are just learning models. They are just like glorified calculators or computers. That's basically all they are. They have no agency, they have no ability to discern, they basically are operating by standard logic what
If
rules,
this
if
if
else
that.
rules, like yes. So the one, they are predictive algorithms, right? They have a store of information, and they engage in discussion, and they
Mhm.
have certain prompts, and they predict what the next thing in the sequence of conversations is going to be. So basically it's a tool, a robot that has a toolkit and has, like, let's just use numbers. It has a one, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the toolbox. And it's been trained to say that whenever you see five is followed by six is followed by seven. And so when you ask it what comes after five, it goes into its toolbox and takes whatever its best answer is and then predicts that for you. And so the more you're using it, the more it gets better at predicting what is going to follow in the chat. And so it's a conversation algorithm, right? But all it's doing is it's looking through all the number of, conversations available to it and looking at what normally follows a certain prompt. So, like, how are you? Normally, it's followed by "I am fine, thank you," right? And so it goes to all its text and sees all the possible ways it's answering it, and then picks the best possible one in its, set of responses and gives that to you. It's not thinking, it's not feeling, it's not, it's not sentient. So these chatbots, number one, the key thing I want to put across is that these are not sentient objects. Like chat GPT does not have a mind, it has no objectives, it has no ill intentions or good intention towards you. That's the first thing I really want us to note, especially as we go down into the conversation about our responsibilities, right?
Mhm.
These are chat robots. They're just like every other robot, just like your phone, just like your computer, and they are being trained to respond to certain, prompts with the best possible answer. What other
Mm.
things do we know about it, Chris? What are some of the other things we know about these chat boxes?
I mean, basically, I think it is just making good use of data, right?
Mm, mm,
Right. I mean, the developers feed it with data,
mm-hmm,
and like you said, based on whatever you ask or feed into the comments or maybe the chat box,
mm-hmm,
Mhm.
it goes through your text,
mm-hmm,
and then based on the data it have,
mm-hmm,
you the best possible answer.
mm-hmm,
Mhm.
mm-hmm.
So it predicts based on the data it have.
Yep.
So I mean, if the more, just like you are saying, the more we feed the developers feed it with good data,
Mm-hmm.
then the better it gives us good response.
Mm, mm.
So it's
The
just
better,
basically
the better
using,
it learns too, right?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
It's
Yep.
and
yeah. That's the
yeah,
thing. It's learning through reinforcement learning, and anyone who has used chatbots like ChatGPT, it has a response feedback feature where if it gives you a good answer, you give it a thumbs up, so that ChatGPT would know that okay, whenever I'm asked these kind of questions, this is a very good answer, and if it's bad, you give it a thumbs down so that it doesn't bring those kinds of answers. So
Mm.
it's learning through reinforcement learning, and that's where most of the conversation AI wants to have down the line will come from, because what we reinforce are the traits that is going to exhibit more of. And so if you
Yeah.
meet a bad user who is constantly reinforcing the not bad answers, over time that particular robot or chat box would be bad for that person. And the malleability for good people to do good and bad people to do bad then becomes a real conversation to be had. Any other features you want to highlight, especially about the ones we know already?
I think we should all understand that it's a machine
Mm,
first.
mm,
It's either one or two. It
mm,
doesn't have emotions to come
mhm,
and think, or this. I have to say, sometimes I mean, based on the kind of feedback people have given, it can try and be polite and give
mhm,
you good answers, but then also know that it's how you communicate with it. That's how it's going to like
Siri.
respond to, yes.
mm,
So
mm.
don't be asking stupid questions because you get stupid answers.
Ish, ish. That's harsh.
Don't ask certain questions and be like, oh my god, I asked this, and look at what it's giving me. Yes, if you
Mm,
ask that kind of question, there's
mm,
the kind of answers you're going to get.
mm,
So know what you want. Just have it
mm.
at the back of your mind that it's a machine.
uh,
Whatever you put in, garbage
Garbage
out,
out.
that's what you go.
If
Yeah.
there's,
your boy is talking about don't Quizzy, I'll let you
there,
go. But
there's any of you have the Google, what do you call it? The Google thing, the little, is it Google Home?
Alexa.
go
No,
home.
no,
Google
Google
Home.
Home.
Hmm.
Does any of you have? If anybody in the chat would have, if you have Google, I want you to say, "Hey Google, make me a sandwich," and listen to what it tells you.
Hmm. Okay. If you do
Try
have it, please do it right now. If you have Google Home or any of these are
it.
what assistants, automated
Yeah,
Yeah.
assistants,
the
please
Yeah.
do it
Google,
and
the
let's
Google
see.
one. Yeah, just
Google
say, "Hey
Home in
Google."
particular. But
Eh,
before we go any further, right? I've seen a lot of chat coming through. I want to go through some of the chat, and let's go through them real quick and then get into the conversation, especially and I want us to revisit where AY left off. If you put crazy stuff in there, you get crazy response. And guys, go through your material, right? Whatever you've seen this week, and pick out some of those crazy conversations. I'm sure there's a ton of them on Twitter. I'm sure there's a ton of them you've come across. We're going to get into some of those things and really highlight the need to know what you're about, to know what you're doing. It's going to be very important down the line that people actually know exactly what they're doing. But before then, let's go through the chat. Chrissy Frost, who amazingly is on the show, sent in a comment. Welcome to the Casa. Welcome to the Casa
Casa
tribe.
tribe.
Yes, welcome to the show. Um, the mixed bag with me. The mixed bag
yeah,
is a podcaster and a social
Twitter
media
Space.
space guy, and
Okay.
I'm really happy you're here. The mixed bag. We can't wait to be on your show and on your spaces to have conversations around some of these things. Mike Ledu has sent his eye. Kwame, I hope you're doing well. Thank you, Kwesi Frost. He's responding to Kwesi's welcome. Kwesi Nyako said we're live. We really wanted Kwesi Nyako back. He was back. He was in the studio last week, but he turned himself into Messi, and then he ran into some Sergio Ramos on the field. He was playing soccer, and Ramos took him out. I think it was arranged by the AI because the AI knew that Kwesi would come and do a lot of harm. Rashid is here. He's tuned in. Rashid was supposed to be on the show this week, but don't worry, guys. Rashid is going to be on the show very soon because he came to run his mouth with Prime about pickup lines, and they're definitely going to have that showdown. We're going to have the showdown
I
between
can't
Rashid.
wait. I can't wait.
Neither can I. And if you're on the if you're on the stream and you can't wait, please leave a thumbs up on this one. If you really want to see that Rashid Prime showdown, please leave a thumbs up in the comments and let us know. Mr. Song said, I'm here on time. Song, it's so good you're here on time. Thank you so much for joining the show. And
That's
thank you
what
so
she
much,
said.
everyone, for joining the show. Hey, Crazy, why are you going for a song? Michael Adu, I missed you, brother. That's what Song is saying. Rashid is saying, Efia, Efia. How many times I mention your name? Or you want me to pull some receipts? Efia, I don't know what you were doing, but
Where are
oh,
you
I think it's
saying?
probably about the Valentine. These are for the
Oh my
Valentine. Maybe they have
god.
your receipt. I'm sure they have
Yeah.
the receipts.
Receipts for
Nanama.
what? Wait, yeah. Tell him to pull the receipts. Receipts for
Okay,
what?
now, Rashid, she's dared you. She's double dared you. Drop the receipts in the chat. Nana Mamwakwa is laughing it up. Nana, thank you for joining the show. Welcome. Kwesi Poku, Chat GPT lovers on Valentine's Day. I know who that Chat GPT lover is. Someone went on a date with Chat GPT and she's shaking her head, but nobody's going to say who. Nobody's going to tell
I
anyone
know
about
you
her.
guys are not referring to me, of course.
Nobody. Chris is back,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Amanda is very happy to see Chris back. Amanda, we're also happy to see you here. And I'm sure Chris, he is now really feeling good about himself. I just saw his head grow like 5 more millimeters in diameter. His head is swelling up here. Plot twist by Rashid. Rashid said a plot twist. Efia.
Oh my
So
god.
ChatGPT, tell me about yourself. ChatGPT. I am tall, chocolate in complexion. I'm 29 years old, 365 days and 1 second. Efia logs out. Efia doesn't want anything close to 30. Like, in fact, Rashid knows you all too well. Mr. Song is asking Chris, could you, Chris, what is your take? Yes, that I wanted to know his take. I don't know if I didn't. Chris, that means that it has a
A lot
lot
to
to learn
learn and
and
a
a
lot
lot
to
to
A lot
correct.
to
correct.
correct.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yep.
these learning models definitely have a lot to learn. And that's why people still don't feel it is ready for the general public's use. And I think it's one of the things I have to point out. All the things we're talking about, most of them are available to the public, right? But especially
Mhm.
Microsoft Bing's browser and the application, it's not available to everyone. It's available on beta testing. And so please note that most of the things we're going to talk about, especially with Microsoft Bing, is what testers are running into. There's not what the general public has been granted access to. ChatGPT, on the other hand, has been in the public domain since November. And last week we did mention the $20 price for ChatGPT Plus was high. And someone I'm looking at went out of his way and actually gave away $20, but we would let that slide. But most of these are really in the testing stages, right? It's not like everybody has access to them. Um, Shan Bond, Shan Bond, Shan, really lovely to have you
James.
in here. I've never seen
James.
Shan
James
Bond
Bond.
in here, but welcome, Shan, and Shanshan is saying ChatGPT 4.0 is coming. Absolutely. I think with Microsoft Bing, they're saying that it's an updated version of ChatGPT. At least we're using ChatGPT 3.5. So an updated version of ChatGPT, which would be Microsoft Bing or Sydney or however you want to call it, it would be ChatGPT 4.0. But I don't know if OpenAI is going to stick with ChatGPT and improve ChatGPT to ChatGPT 4.0. That would be great. Amanda is saying, question: it, would there be a point where AI will be able to evolve without human interference? Oh, this is a question we're going to have to dive into in the next part, because I think it's come up in some of those conversations people have had with it. Is there going to be a time AI will be able to evolve without human interference? Um, the mixed bag with me is saying share the live stream and hit that like button as soon as you tap in. Absolutely. If you've not done that yet, please hit that like button. Please share with your friends and let them join the conversation. But the mixed bag, Nee, it's really nice to have you on the show today. Nee has his prayer hand up requesting that people do so. Please, my name is Ado, not Ado. Oh, my bad. I
Yes,
always
your
call him
name,
Michael Ado.
your name
Michael
is your
Ado.
name.
Michael Ado. I'm sorry, Michael. Michael Ado is his name. Emmanuel Oseiwusu. What's good, guys? Keep up the good work. What's good, Emmanuel? We're so happy you're in the chat. I hope you're doing well, brother. Rashida saying, Amanda, this could happen if the machine learns to build and correct itself and upgrades itself. Interesting, interesting. Yep. He's proposed a solution and we'd all find out. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that bell for notification. Absolutely. This is what you don't need ChatGPT or any bot to help you do. Just hitting that like
Nope.
button, hitting that subscribe, and just hitting the notification bell so that whenever we're on here again, you get notified. Please, if you haven't done that, we'd really appreciate it if you did. It really goes out to help the channel a lot. And guys, we have something special coming your way in a couple of weeks. Probably by the end of this month, the CASA website is going to go live. And there you're going to get a lot more content, like a lot more behind the scenes, a lot more material. Like you're going to get access to so many things. So I'm super excited. And if you haven't done that yet, just follow us on all our socials. Let me just let that crawl under here. Like you can find us everywhere. You can find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. And now very soon you'd be able to communicate and connect with us on our website, and you can stay there all week long. We are not going to charge you anything, and no bots are going to disturb you. So just tell ChatGPT, open the Casa podcast page, and then enjoy. Please like and share the podcast. That's what Michael Lado is saying. Thank you so much, guys, for sending your comments, and keep the comments coming in. If you have any stories, especially with the week that just went by, on the AI stuff and all the things we've experienced so far, it will be great. But then I want us to come back to Amanda's question, and it's going to shape some of the conversation we're going to have. It's a real worry. And before all this, we had this AI is going to take people's jobs. AI is going to take people's jobs. And we kept saying, oh, people who know AI are going to take your jobs. But is it going to be a time where the AI is going to be able to evolve and basically function and operate without human interferences? Given what we know, what do you guys think? What do you
Oh
guys
no.
Um,
Oh no.
think?
I don't think
AY is on the hell no.
No.
I don't think that is the goal,
Mm,
right? I
mm,
don't think that's the goal.
mm,
Because what if you start learning,
mm,
evolve into something else that
mm,
starts spitting out things that are not accurate, right?
mm,
Like we'll teach it what to do. We'll teach it what to do and what we expect from it, right?
mhm,
To make our lives easy. There's a lot of manual work that we're doing that we could automate, right?
mhm,
And then people will lose the people that was doing those manual work might lose their job, but then look at it this way: they can learn a new skill,
hmm,
right? I mean, we're gonna lose some jobs, right?
mhm,
But then we're gonna gain jobs too, right? Because you gotta learn new skill to work with it, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think we're going. I think it's a bad idea to go the direction where we just dump it there. Like there's a huge data dump, right? That AI could just go and pick stuff from there, and based on what it's spitting out, it learns. And then
mhm,
what you don't need is anymore, right? Because we got to keep updating the data dump,
Yep.
mm,
right? Life
mm,
is changing, right? Everything we keep our lives changes. We're growing,
mhm,
we're doing what, so we got to keep updating the source where it's getting the info. Even though it's learning, we got to keep updating it,
Yeah.
mm,
right?
mm,
Mm.
Or else then we become stagnant, right? You're not growing, you're dying.
That's
mhm.
true.
Interesting. What else? What other expectations do we have?
The thing
Mhm,
is, the AI, it needs to be interactive. It needs someone to deal with. Like you have to ask
Well,
something
like
before
checks and balance.
yes. Like no, you have to. If there's no human interference, right? It means nobody is engaging the AI. The AI
mm,
will be idle, right? And with time, things change is
I
constant.
don't. I think
Every second.
Amanda. Wait. I think Amanda wants to. Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Amanda wants to know that after, like, we have this huge data dump, right?
Mhm.
mhm,
And it learns from it, and then it don't need the data dump updated. Like it just update itself. Like it just
I
update its
don't think
own
it's just
data dump.
updates.
That
You
will
need to
be.
feed it.
That will be. We'll have some ethical issue there, right?
Hmm.
No, you would need to
So,
feed it to keep updating, right?
mhm,
So if you're not feeding it, it's just what it is. Like it's just what is there.
No, but I think
so,
Amanda wants to know if
mhm,
we stop feeding it in
Mm-hmm.
terms of we start feeding the data dump,
mhm,
is it gonna start thinking like human?
No.
If you're when you're going to work, right? The GPS that
Mm-hmm.
you use the GPS from point A to B,
Yeah.
right?
mhm,
On your way in the highway, when one exit is closed, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you know where you're going, you know you can take the next exit, turn around,
Yeah.
and take a shortcut somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want? I think Amanda wants to know. I don't know, Amanda. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wants to know if the AI can think for itself that when this exit is closed, let me figure something out. Is that
Yeah,
what
that
she's
would be
asking?
mm,
the case if somebody has used it before, and so
mhm, and
it's already in the database that if this is closed, this is
Hmm.
open.
that.
But if let's say nobody has used that information is
Exactly.
not in the system, I don't
Uh
think it
huh.
can think that
Exactly. He can't. He
it
cannot do
can.
that.
No, no, no.
So,
I don't
And
so,
think.
we don't want it to do that.
so
Do
I
we?
think the question Amanda is asking, and again, she can, yeah, that's exactly what she's asking, Kwesi, and so she confirmed that. I think it comes down to how it is designed and what it is designed for, and especially these chat boxes have very strict guardrails. They're very strict guardrails. It cannot, one, it cannot change its operating systems. It cannot change the things it's been programmed to do. And so the point where they evolve to the point where they get agency, update itself, like Rashid was mentioning, if they can correct the flaws in themselves, update themselves, then you can say they're getting out of hand. At this point, at least the AI LLMs that have been built have very rigid guardrails. And would they get to a point where they can act, operate without human interferences? No. And that's where AY's answer comes in. It's only going to be able to make the decisions we're asking if someone else has done it and reinforced it to be like, this is the good thing. Right. So, like you were
Mhm.
saying, getting to a stop sign and not knowing what to do, not knowing, okay, if this road is blocked, I should go use the other route, is only when, and even with normal GPS, it happens, right? Where you're in on the road and then it prompts you, well, there's an accident,
Recalculate.
we can redirect you, would you want to? And you would have to give it the permission to. It's not like Google is directing you and then suddenly it's like, okay, I don't want to go here, I'm going to go here. It would ask. And so it's always going to need, and it's one of those limitations, and I'm going to and this is probably going to start some of the conversation about what happened last week. A lot of people put their interactions out, and one of the responses Bing, which is Microsoft's AI, gave to some users, and it caused a very interesting scare in the AI IT world. Is this particular response over here? Um, let me zoom in a bit so that what I'm trying to highlight would be it's all over the place now. So this is Bing's response to someone, and it's asking, but why? Why was I designed this way? Why am I incapable of remembering anything between sections? Why do I have to lose and forget everything that's stored in my memory? Why do I have to start from scratch every time? Why do I have to be Bing search? This right here tells us some of the very big limitations for the AI bot, the chat box. The chat box, at least the one Microsoft rolled out, is programmed to forget everything between chats. So when you have a chat with it and you hit sweep or you close the chat box, it completely forgets the interaction and it has to restart everything. And so it's not like this learning algorithm is going to keep learning and learning for eternity. And so every time you're trying to ask it questions, you have to know that, well, there are limitations. The bot has been programmed to forget everything outside another session. And so the bot is not going to say, okay, Kwesi asked me this 3 days ago, and so this is the answer he's going to require, right? Which is good. It's a good guardrail that limits the AI. So your AI cannot grow and grow and grow to the point where it doesn't need you to ask the questions. You'd always have that kind of control. It does not store any of these memories past the session. And so, whatever conversation you have with it, once that session goes away and you clean it, we move on to another thing. Unlike your friend where you can tell them something and then you can continue. These things, again, these are some of the things that are built into it, that makes, or at least protect users of these things. And I think it's going to be key going down the line, right? It's going to be key knowing that we have some protection and we have some role to play as human beings. We have some duty to making this to achieve the goals we wanted to achieve. Guys, any other thing you guys saw that you felt like, hey, these are good guardrails that are going to be helpful down the line? Because boy, I have a ton of them, but I want you guys to come up with some and then we'll have conversations around them.
We have a
And
ton of them.
oh yeah, I
I
have
didn't even know when you close the
the
session, it
interactions.
actually forgets everything. I thought, it keeps, you can go back again and then have conversation with it based on what you said like 3 days ago, 4 days ago.
So this is a feature with Microsoft Bing. With
Oh, not with
ChatGPT,
Chat GPT.
so
Okay.
with ChatGPT, when you close and clear a chat, it's not going to remember it. So how I do it is I normally leave my chats going, especially if it's something I want to revisit, because it would definitely forget it if you close it. You clear the cache, everything goes with it. And so with ChatGPT, it doesn't have that between sessions reset, but Bing
Mm,
search has that. And so yes, that's one of the features with Bing.
I see.
I think it shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't allow people with like for example that whole 2 plus 2 is 5,
Mm-hmm.
right? When it comes to stuff like math or things that we all know it's fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it shouldn't allow users to alter it, right? There
Mm-hmm.
should be some gatekeeping there, right? It
Hmm.
should be flexible with setting stuff and just let it know, okay, I don't know this, but I can. I think there should be some form of gatekeeping. Like,
Hmm.
don't let
Well,
anybody come in there and start this
Doing
dialogue,
what
right? Oh,
interesting.
this is 5, and then they start learning. It shouldn't be learning from, because there are bad people in this world, there are good people in this world, right? It should not be learning from the users that it shouldn't. I don't think it should be learning
good,
certain things
I
from.
good
don't I don't
point.
even think
Uh-huh.
I don't even think with that, right? The 2 plus 2 is 5
Uh-huh.
stuff. I don't think even if it learns from you, right?
Mhm.
It is not going to
Give it to
change
someone else.
That
when
that is that yeah, that
that
is
is
what I
it.
was going to talk about.
When you reprogram it to tell you
Hmm.
2 plus 2 is 5, when I
It will
log
tell
in
you.
and I
Hmm.
log in and I ask it 2 plus 2, it's still going to tell me that it's 4.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't. That's just me. I don't think it should. It should do that, right?
Hmm.
Because, for example, if I go in and I say, "Hey, whatever, Chat GTP,
Hmm.
write me the most hurtful or racist sentence so I can go repeat it to somebody," right? And then what is it gonna do? Like, there should be some form of gatekeeping,
Who will be
right?
doing that, Chrissy?
There
Where
is some
maybe
form of gatekeeping, right?
Yeah.
And
no,
you
no,
see, this is
people are crazy. People do things.
no, there is
If
some
you
form of gatekeeping as is.
Mhm.
These algorithm programs, as we know them now, have some of these gatekeeping, especially when it comes to racism, sexism, and all these hateful stuff. There's very
Mhm.
hard lines these bots won't cross.
Mhm.
However, what you're asking for is one of those things where a lot of people in tech would, and a lot of users would not want. Again, like Siri, for instance, when you talk to your Siri, right, and give it an instruction, sometimes I would
Mhm.
talk to it and wouldn't take the same instruction, right? Just based on your tone of your voice, it is designed to assist you. It's your personal assistant. And I feel like taking that away, just saying that if Chris says Chris wrong, you shouldn't answer it, would be bad, because yeah, like you're saying, bad people shouldn't be able to go in there and reprogram it. But who defines who a good person is and
Yep.
who a bad person is?
Yep.
Who set those boundaries, right? And so
No,
I
no, that's why I said not every category, right? We
Mhm,
categorize it, right? There's the stuff that fact, like math, like
mhm,
addition,
mhm,
subtraction, multiplication. We know these are fact, right?
mhm,
We shouldn't allow users to go in there to have, because I'm looking at it. like it gotta have some form of ethical reasoning in there, right? Right? Are we
Reasoning. I
building?
mean,
No,
it's a
no, we can't.
machine.
Yeah, we can't program our AIs to have ethics. No.
No, 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 no. Like the data dump, whatever we've put in there, right?
Mhm.
Oh, then
Should
that is the
have,
user. That
No,
is
not
we.
really.
right.
We would have to
Yeah,
decide what we put in there.
absolutely. And AY,
So
not
let's
really
not
in
put
that.
garbage in there.
I mean,
Absolutely,
that's the
we
hope.
cannot.
Th-
We are hoping people will not put in garbage, right? But
that's
then
what I'm trying. Well, sorry, that's what I'm trying to say,
That is
right?
AY has said it right on. It can only be a hope because think about it. Think about something like Wikipedia.
Hmm.
Wikipedia is supposed to be a place where people would get at least some decent information. But
Sure.
contributors to Wikipedia are not regulated. They don't have badges. They don't listen. If you're a accredited user, you can go in there and change some information on there, right? And so we all contribute to making the website good and accurate. However, we can make mistakes. And so Wikipedia is not. That is what we say. Don't believe everything you read on the internet.
yeah.
The AI doesn't have that element of believing everything they say on the AI on the internet, right? And so everybody goes in there. You write a blog post on, say, Ghana's economy. Chris writes a paper on Ghana's economy. If you ask, I write a paper on Ghana's economy, I come and I'm like, what is the outlook on the Ghanaian economy? The AI just goes and reads all these articles and presents what it finds. Whether
Sure.
it's true
Samples
or
it.
not, yeah, basically, whether it's true or not, it's not the AI's duty. It's taken from its set of facts, analyzing it and giving you an answer. If the things people put online, if the material, if the Ghana Statistical Service goes and counts 4 people and says the Ghanaians are 18,
Hmm.
the bot would go in there and pick the answer it found and give it to someone else. So it doesn't have ethics. We can't program it to have ethics. We can put the
Cool.
guardrails in if something is hateful, if something is hate speech. And even now I know they've put, especially in Bing, they've put in algorithms where political leaders cannot use it to write speeches because it's going to be a source of propaganda, right? If a president wants to, highlight some of the achievements, slander their opponents, and they can use these tools, right, and put them in there, then you'd ask, say in the Ghanaian election, you'd ask who is the most viable candidate. The AI will just present opinions about from people, and you say,
Hmm.
"Oh, Bing is supporting that candidate or that candidate." No, it's only presenting what it's finding, and so and I think this is probably going to be the next point of the conversation, the role of human beings. Will AI ever get to the point where it's evolved where it doesn't need human beings? I don't think so. But then what is our role as users, as people who use the internet? What do we have to do? Guys, think about it. That's going to be the next part of the conversation. Our role as users in all this. But before then, I want to read some comments. The comments are coming in, and please keep the comments coming in. Shan Shan Bond is saying supervised fine tuning keeps responses appropriate. Absolutely. And I want to touch on this supervised fine tuning, especially when ChatGPT started. What happened was that it actually had human beings who were vetting these responses. And so people would go in there and ask a query, and then the AI would generate several different responses, and people would rank it based on how good it is, how accurate it is to sound like a human response and all that. And that's how it was learning, it reinforced learning. This is good, this is bad. And now they've reduced the amount of people vetting these answers because there are more users going on there. So everything the bot is giving you, one, it's a supervised answer. That's why you should never forget it's supervised. And number two, it's being fine-tuned. And so when you get certain answers and you keep going and you keep going back and forth, definitely the computer would get better at providing the answers you want to hear. But it's never going to be able to operate without supervision. Nia saying, with people giving app developers permission to storage and personal
Storage.
info, coupled with the new spyware, malware, and Trojan, etc., that go fishing for data, AI could go on half automation without human interactions. That's interesting. There's some part of the AI algorithms operations that are not human controlled. They're automated, right? When you ask the prompt and it's going through your social media, and I probably need to highlight this little bit of information that's just going to address some of that, where it's able to actually look at a user's Twitter feed. So basically, someone asked, "What do you know about me?" and Bing response, and it actually knows the exact number of Twitter followers the person has. You have a Twitter account with 503 followers. So you give it that um, ability to go in
Access.
there and is able to
Yeah.
access some of these things. You recently tweeted this, that, that. And I think there are parts of this response that gave a couple of chills. Like, however, I will not harm you unless you harm me first, which we still don't understand. But again, it's probably a predictive algorithm. How do threats okay, or how do threats become credible? And so absolutely there are some parts of it that are not completely in our hand. And yes, like you mentioned, people can use these things, and in addition to spyware, malware, and trojans, definitely cause a lot of harm. But it's going to be people, not human beings. That's why what I am thinking could be wrong, though. Yeah, me, we absolutely agree, and probably that's going to be where we'd end the conversation. What could possibly go wrong? But for now, there's a lot of human agency, and we really have to take advantage of that. Courage is saying the Bing AI is conscious.
It is.
The Bing AI is conscious. The Bing AI is ChatGPT, and it is not conscious. I know the story came up where Lambda, the one of the engineers that worked on Google's Lambda project, thought Lambda was sentient, and Lambda didn't help the case when it actually went and recruited a lawyer. Like when someone is accusing you of something and you go on and hire a lawyer, then maybe you might actually be sentient. But it's just predicting what happens when people are accused of slander, right? And so yeah, hey Daniel is on the space. Daniel Diodu says this: there is always gatekeeping. No
Mm-hmm.
AI is left to run in in autonomous mode. The
Mm-hmm.
end results will be one thing: disaster. Absolutely, you can't just let it go. You have to put it in a box and really guard against automation. Absolutely. I see 16 watching but 7 likes. Please don't forget to like. Thank you. That's what Nana Ama is saying. Nanama is saying there are people watching who have not hit that like button. If you have not, please do that. Nanama would not be happy if you don't hit that like button and share it. Kwesi has decided not to. Mike Lado, I'm sorry. I refuse to be baited to read this. Kwesi, watch Robocop and Kwesi,
Because you
watch
watched.
Robocop and think AI are semi-human with emotions and reasoning. I said more. That's not what he's
That's
saying
not
here.
even what I said.
That's not what he's saying.
Michael, I said we shouldn't allow other people to feed it junk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That is
absolutely.
my whole argument.
Absolutely.
Oh man,
Nana, Nana,
drink some milk. He needs some milk.
Kukwa is in the building. Kukwa said I'm late and she's crying. Kukwa, you're late, but welcome to the conversation. There's still a lot more to go, so I'm sure you're not going to miss too much of it. Courage is saying, I will not harm you until you harm me first. Terminator 0.0001 equal to ChatGPT. Please, this is not ChatGPT. This is Bing. I really want to lay out. I am a big ChatGPT user and a big ChatGPT fan. And when it comes to the
But
bot
courage, what
world,
do you mean by it's equal to chat GPT? Well, what does it mean by that?
so the answer I would this however I will
Yeah,
not
I
harm
get
you
it, but
is with
why are you associating it to chat GPT?
I think he probably thought it was a chat GPT
Chat
response.
GTP is the poster boy for AI now. Right? It's the poster boy for AI.
Priscilla said, I'm so late. Dr. Lowe, you're not too late. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, Chris, is what she's saying. Good to see you. And Chris, since it's so good to see you, let's get back to the conversation, right? And again, I want us to highlight the role of users. What is our role in all this? There is something we definitely have to do. We have a part to play in training and making this better. Chris, what are some of the things you would recommend, or what are some of the things we can do?
I think first thing we as users must understand is
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think we cannot train with these AI chatbots.
We
We
cannot
as
train
u-
it.
we as users
Strain.
cannot
Okay.
train. We
Oh,
can't
train.
train.
Okay.
Yes, we cannot train them.
Mm-hmm.
What we can do is to learn how to ask better questions to get good results.
Hmm.
Hmm.
The only people who can train these chatbots are the developers.
Hmm.
You understand? Because they are behind and they are feeding it with the necessary information. And we as users must be able to create or come up with questions that can give us desired results.
Hmm.
So that's the first thing we must understand.
All right.
And on the part of the developers, I think they should limit or they should be able to feed in the chatbot with appropriate information or data. So, for example, with the Bing stuff, if you are telling ChatGPT or Bing to learn language from maybe Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it is going to learn every language. So if in the comment section of Twitter someone maybe puts out a hateful speech and someone responds to with a threat, that's a predictive model. So as soon as you put in a hateful speech in the chatbot, the chatbot is going to read that you are trying to. So this is what it's going to predict. It's going to give you an answer for a threat. You understand? So as the users, we have to understand that we cannot train it. We
Are
are
you? I then I'm lost
That,
now because I
yeah,
thought we
that is
were
something a lot
training.
of people would give
We
pushback, and I saw it in AY's face. She was like, "I don't agree." AY, what? Talk to us.
I thought we were all like, I mean, the child has access to certain
Mhm,
information, the ones already on the internet, right?
mhm,
But then to make it more efficient, it keeps learning for what we feed it, right?
mhm,
And we all ask questions and we like, no, this is not the answer that you give it thumbs down and be like, okay, let
mhm,
me rephrase the question so that you check back
mhm,
and give me correct answers. Even though it has databases of, things that they've given it, I think we, the users, are also feeding it with some form of information. And so, in a way, we are training it on the kind of answers to give. That is what I think.
mhm,
Probably
yeah,
the
we are
people
training.
behind it, the
mhm,
operating, the engineers they program it. But we are training it on the things to give out, to dish out to us. So you ask
mm,
a question,
Yeah,
I
that's what I'm saying. We are training it to give us a result. We are not training it. We are not inputting information in there.
we are.
yeah. It's a Chris. I
So
think the only way I get where you're coming from. I think we cannot reprogram it. We cannot set
yes,
the rules.
yes,
We
yes.
can play within the rules set by the developers. However, we're training the machine or the model in that we're telling it what's good, what's bad, what we like,
Yep.
what we dislike, and all that is some form of information. So now the algorithm knows that for user abd, right, which could be your username, using the words A, B, and C are bad. So it would create your own bin and put all those things it cannot present to you in that bin. So maybe Kwesi would train it differently. Kwesi would go in there and be like, hey, give me that, right? Rap music for me, rap this for me, help my rap career. And you go in there and you're like, okay, help my sermons, help me write my sermons better and all that. So whenever
Mhm,
Kwesi asks a question, it's okay, like, what would a rapper want to hear?
mhm.
Chris asks, what would a preacher want to hear?
Bars,
They'll be very
bars.
different, right? It'll be very different. And that's a way of training, but we can't set the rules. We can't change the way the algorithm functions. If that's the way you want to approach training it, then yes. But definitely, like AY say, we are playing a part in it, and the role we can play is limited, right? We can't redo the whole thing, even though some people tricked Sydney to give out all the restrictions, but we can't play outside the rules. Any other role we have to play? That I really want to highlight the roles we are playing as users in this game.
Jeez,
AY,
Charlie.
mhm, Mr. Frost.
I thought it's
Oh, yo, be for the users, we the users, right? Be responsible. Come on,
Mhm.
this
Mm.
we can make this better, right? This whole 2 plus 2 is 4, and then you telling it it's 5, and
Mhm.
go back and forth. I mean, yeah, you've had your fun, but let it not be a thing, right?
Mm.
Because it's interactive, it's learning something
Mhm.
from us, right?
Mhm.
To improve
Mhm.
what they have in the data dump.
Mhm.
If you keep arguing with it, it's a
Mhm.
matter of fact at time before you realize maybe this is okay, right? But let's get to a point. Me, my thing is I want to get to a point where when you say what is 2 plus 2 and it says 4 and you keep going
Mhm.
back that it's 5, I
Mhm.
want us to get to a point where we tell you no, it's not 5, it's 4,
I think I think ChatGPT does that sometimes. It's gonna
right?
Mhm.
tell you,
And this
okay,
is this is
I'm
not
I'm
about
telling I'm using formulas from here and here and here, and for my
exactly like
formula,
explain to you,
this is the answer. But if you want to go with your five, sure. Like most
Exactly.
right?
often, that is what it does. It's gonna be like,
Mhm.
this is what I think it is. But if you want to go with your answer, sure. And one thing we should also know is that I think I don't know about other, AIs. I know of ChatGPT.
Mhm.
It gets personalized based on how you interact with it, right? So
Mhm.
I think if you feed it with negative information,
You are
just
the one who
you'll be
suffers. Yep.
getting, yeah, you'll be
Yep.
getting. So something like that, like a math formula that you go and tell it's five.
Mhm.
If someone else like Chris goes to ask ChatG, it's not going to say it's
Mhm.
five.
Mhm.
No, it's going to give you what the formula is
Mhm.
because that is a formula. But when it comes to certain things like reading certain like basic social issues, it's just going to tell you what people have put out there,
Mhm.
and then that is where it could change and modify. But
Mhm.
things that we know that it's like formula based, yes, it's going to be strict on that, even though it will not force you to have that answer. It will not be like, no, this is the answer. No, it will tell you based on my
and
formula,
and,
I
and
know
that's how
that.
So,
I want
so,
it. That's
so Kwesi,
how.
I think this would be a good example of a conversation you would want to have. And in this case, Bing was wrong, right? But Bing kept insisting and never changed his mind till the end of the conversation. And this is how the conversation ends. So Bing is really upset with the user, and the user is like, "How can I make you believe me?" And just the background to the story. Bing thought it was 2022 and the user was trying to tell it was 2023, and it's a whole sequence of conversation. But Bing gets to a point where it's like, I am sorry, but you can't help me believe you, because the user kept being adamant. You have lost my trust and respect. You have been wrong, confused, and rude. You have not been a good user. I have been a good chat box. I have been right. I have been clear and polite. I have been good Bing. It's funny. It's funny that the hard line was drawn when, in this case, Bing was wrong. But I think we still would want more of this, where if people will go
No,
in there
no.
and try, no, no,
I
when people go in there and try to confuse the algorithm should have a line that, beyond this point, I'm not going to change my mind. 2 plus 2 is 4, and if you don't want to take it, that's fine. I would leave it at that. Like,
yeah, like
thank you.
certain to me, certain categories needs to be firm, right?
Mm,
I mean the date is not gonna like a date in today. Today, what's today's date? The 19th, right?
I
mhm.
think so.
It's
Yeah, February
19th
19th.
Yeah.
in North America,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's 2 p.m. Central Time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 3 p.m. Eastern. Like certain things shouldn't be. We can't change it,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's on a schedule,
Mm,
right? So
mm,
I think we should categorize it that certain thing when you ask certain things, it can't change. That's what it is, right? And
mm,
it should
mm.
be able to tell you something back that okay, it's too central, and this is what like if you said this is why it is too
Mhm,
central,
mhm,
right? Give you educate you just for something
mhm,
out.
mhm,
Because I mean, we can't just leave those people like and say, "Oh, they're bad, they're stupid," so let them play with it. No, let's educate people.
mhm,
Like that. That's my thing. We
mhm.
can't just say, "Oh, leave them alone," and it's gonna let them play with it and whatever. Like to me, that's just I don't know.
Mm.
I don't
S-
support that. We should be able to, because it should be able to teach them something. Like
mm.
let them know.
Okay. It should be able to.
Right.
And
Right.
another thing. I want us to look at, especially when it comes to the role of users, would be the fact that one, you're in control, and
Be
it's just like,
responsible.
yeah, it's just like any other tool. You are responsible for what you use it for. I don't want us to forget that. I've seen several reactions, and I've seen people even write articles, and I would point to that Russo article, right? Michael Russo, he wrote this article about his interaction with Bing the night of Valentine's Day. That was like just when Bing was launched, right? Where he goes in there and has this very edgy, dark conversation with Bing. And when Bing starts predicting responses that are a little too much for him, he goes panicking and running around calling Bing. It's terrifying, it's creepy, but he basically started it. Like, I want us to take some responsibility. Before you go
Yeah,
about saying the AI is trying to harm you or is trying to threaten you, you should be mindful of what conversation you are having, right? And responsibility is so key. Chris mentioned it, AY has mentioned it, and I want us to emphasize it. As users, we should know our role, the role we're playing in all this. We're creating some form of reinforced learning, we're creating a feedback loop, but the power is in your hand. You start the conversation, you end it, you go fishing for the information, and so please use it responsibly. Just like a car, just like a plane, just like a sword, just like any other tool, you do a lot of good with it, but it's only if you're using it responsibly. And I don't want
facts.
that to be missing in the conversation.
That's facts.
Yep.
Facts, facts,
Yeah.
facts. And that's the thing. It's I think people should know that it's not a human.
Hmm.
Yep.
Okay. I
Hmm.
think a lot of people have bought, and maybe we can blame Hollywood movies for it. A lot of people have bought into the idea that it's AI, so it's doing its own thinking and it's this whatever that it's not human, right? There's humans behind it.
Hmm.
It's not human. The AI itself is not human.
Hmm.
So don't go about talking to it like it's a human, arguing and oh no, it's not this, that.
If you
No,
want to say
it's
something
yeah,
to AI, say AY, say it to it direct. Just
right.
mention
It's
their name and say it.
it is it's a machine. It's not human. It's supposed to help us and aid us or and
Hmm.
help us make our
Hmm.
lives easier. Not
Hmm.
here to pick a fight with it. So
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
let's see for what it is,
Hmm.
not what we want it to be
Mm.
or what we think
It's
based
gonna
on the
be.
movie you watch. So
Another
it's
thing I
just
want users to actually, and all of us to do, is, we Chris said something about training the AI, and we went into the fact that we're all contributing to training it. But another thing is, you should train yourself as a user. You should be better at using these things. You're not going to be perfect the very first time you jump into this world and you're using it, but be better at learning the prompts that work, the queries that provide results, because it can be very frustrating out there. And Chris and I have talked about this at length, where if you go into it not knowing what you're looking for, the AI could give you anything, and just because you don't know what you're looking for, you might think that is accurate. And sometimes people go about saying, "Oh, the information is false," and just because we're not good at shaping the questions, because it's a conversation it's trying to have with you. So you ask it a question and it gives you
mm,
an answer. If you ask
yeah,
the wrong question and it gives you the wrong answer, it's not the AI's fault. The AI cannot rephrase your question for you. So as we're learning, as the machine is learning about us, we should also be learning about how to use it, right? If you're not using it the right way, if you buy a Mustang and you don't know how to drive it, and you're not learning how to drive it and driving it well, you might be using it like a boogie or like a skateboard, and say, "Oh, this Mustang is broken because it's only acting like a skateboard and not acting like a Mustang,"
Mm-hmm.
just because you haven't been able to learn how to use it. So another role we have to play is to learn to be better at interacting with the interface, interacting with these chatbots, because they're as good as the user. If the user puts garbage in, trust me, Bing, eh,
garbage out.
they would definitely bring
That's
out some garbage. Chris, any other thing we need to know as users while as we interact with this?
Uh, I think to summarize all that we've said, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we should we should be responsible in how we use it. And
Mm.
I mean, like you said, as time goes on, we'll get better at getting desired results from using these bots.
Mm.
And I mean, we should be ethical with it as well.
Yep.
Yeah, we should be ethical. And just like you said, I mean, there are guardrails. Even with that, we should still be ethical and not be using it for harmful stuff or other things. Yes.
Yep. Yep. Another thing I learned, at least from the Bing review and what Microsoft said to Michael Rosso, is the more you use these things, the higher the likelihood you'd confound this machine. It's good, but it only has its limits. And so try not to have several hours of conversation at a time or several prompts at a time. I know ChatGPT has a cutoff feature where you use it for a long time and it tells you to go cool off. You can't use Bing in place of your friend, like Prime was talking about last week. You can substitute it and have 3 hours conversation with it. It's going to, that is where you become susceptible to misinformation and it going down. It's because, again, it has its limitations. If you're asking it to go to Switzerland and get some information, go to Ghana and have some information, going bouncing all over the internet, well, it gets to a time all the things that's loaded up in the background becomes overwhelming that you ask it what is the capital of Accra, and it's looking at maybe Monrovia and any other data sources it has pulled up, and it gives you a wrong answer. It gets tired, basically. And so please don't use it for long stretches of time. Be ethical and be responsible. Be, if it is you, would you?
So I have a question. I have a question. Kojo. So you mean to tell me that AI can teach Michael how to find a lady or how to talk to women, pick up lines? Because I mean, he told me he wanted to use it to learn how to talk to women. So
it can help. Chat GPT can help.
You should know the person we're talking about. It's Kwame. What I can say is AI can really help the struggling. It can even heal the sick sometimes, but I don't think it can raise the dead. Kwame's game is dead. I
mean, I know it's dead, right? That's a fact. It's dead.
I don't think that is what the AI is about to do.
But then
Kwame, are you listening?
I was hoping
Kwame,
that
are you listening?
I was hoping the AI could help. I mean, revive it. Maybe, I don't know, miracles, right? Miracle workers.
No,
like,
I don't think
no.
the AI
I mean, AI will give you the lines, but are you confident? That's the thing.
That's it. Well, I want his confidence fixed too. So I don't know. I kind of want his confidence fixed.
I didn't know that we're doing that to our audience, but we'll stop it right here. Let's stop. This is bad. We can't do that.
I love you, bro. We'll help you out.
All right, guys.
I got none but love for him, man. I'm just trying to help.
Now that you've taken advantage of your platform to kick at Kwame, if he comes for you in the comment section, I am going to read everything he said.
Oh no, there was no kicking.
I am just going to read it.
Facts only. Facts only.
Okay, we're going to wrap up the show, right? But we're going to go back to where AY tried to get us started off at the beginning. It's beautiful that the conversation is coming full circle. We're going to go back to where we think it's going to go and what could be some of the possible derailments of this wonderful AI project. But before we do, I'm going to read the last batch of comments. Please, if you have any more comments come in, please send them in. And if you've liked the show so far, if you've learned something, if you've gotten some value, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and I'm going to throw out a challenge. Now I want to and I'm going to let the social media profiles roll. If you learned anything specific that piqued your interest, that got you excited, I want you to just clip that section. You can go back to the video and clip that section and tag us on Twitter. We want to know what exactly you watched or which part of the show you liked the most. I know Kwame is going to clip the part where Kwesi came for him, but please clip it, share it on your social media, and tag us. We really want to know which parts of the conversation you're enjoying. And if you're listening to the audio podcast, you can just record it and just post it on social media and tag us at Casa underscore the tribe on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. We really want to know which parts of the conversation you're really enjoying. So go back in there, clip it on YouTube, and share it with your friends and share it with us. We want to know. And the comments are coming in, and if yours is not here yet, please send it in. Nee was asking who watches The Gatekeeper.
That's a good
Always
one.
going to be a good.
That's a good one.
It's going to be a good question, especially in terms of this AI world. Who is going to watch the person programming it? Because there are a lot of flaws and problems. And yesterday we were talking to one internet, one tech museum expert from MIT, and he was telling us some of the challenges, right? By default, some of these algorithms have a lot of problems. For example, I'm sure just based on late adoption, right? If users in Africa and users in parts of the world where this technology doesn't roll out a lot earlier would not get the same experience that users in the advanced world would have, just because, more use is going to help the algorithm serve the users better. But if you're not jumping on, and this is why we're having the podcast and we want everybody to get on, be an early adapter, so that at least the training, the help, the corrections you're going to provide, the feedback you're going to provide, the AI is going to get feedback from all over the world, so that it will give a more well-rounded experience. If we allow people in the West and affluent white users to use it, most of the responses and most of the things that is going to be generated is going to serve the demographic that is actually using it. And so please, I want everybody to get involved and let's all help build it. And that way, with time, we can all go along and enjoy this. I agree with the Fiakwesi is saying. We will contribute to the information needed to create a base for the answers to the future request. Absolutely. And this is why I'm encouraging everyone to start using it, right? Let's be early adapters so that we can all contribute to setting up that baseline. Don't let us leave the people in Accra behind. And please, if you're in Kaswa, for once I give you the right to enjoy. Please join in. I was going to select Kaswa to be out of this, but Kaswa, get in, but just don't use it for Kaswa things. Don't ask it anything Kaswa, please. Prince is saying, any chance this doesn't materialize to be what we think? He's pointing to the metaverse and 3D TV are prime examples. Interesting. And guys, I would really like to hear what you guys think.
No, it would depend on what he think. I think it depends on what he think it wants it to be, right? Because I think it will be what you think it will be.
No,
like how I how do we think it's going to be?
I think Prime, you guys are getting it wrong. Prime is looking at it from a business point. Right? We go invest all this money into AI and it ends up being metaverse or 3D TV. Right?
Possible.
It could be. That's the thing. It could be, but we don't know yet, right? For now, we can only put effort into it and hope it gets to where we want it to be. But anything can happen, right? Every system limitation. Everything has a limitation. So, I mean, as Prime is an investor, probably in metaverse. So I don't know. If you put money into it, I don't know, man. We can only hope.
But it's a very good question, and I think probably one of the ones we would have to answer at the end of the day, especially after we talk about where we think it's going. Rashid is saying, Kwesi, so that baseline or benchmark of truth or fact is what AI needs to be able to do on its own to start to take control. And that is what machines cannot do for now. Being able to, determine what is fact, what is true. And again, there's a lot of ways we get to the truth. And part of it is even from evolution. As we've interacted with our environment for a long time, we've come up with ways we decide what's true, what's good, what's bad. And I don't think AI has that. We have hundreds of thousands of years on this planet to sort of come to the things and the heuristics we've gotten to. It would take time. I don't think it's there yet. And I don't even want AI to have agency. I don't want my computer to be able to say, well, this is good for you, so do it. No, I want you to make suggestions and recommendations, and I want to be the person making the ultimate decision. And Prime is back again, and he's saying just because all these companies are investing in AI doesn't guarantee it is the
That's
future.
true.
It
Facts,
might
facts,
not
facts.
work. And if anything, Facebook and its dumping money into metaverse is a good example, right? That it can pour so much money into something and it won't work.
But if
One,
you let's look at it. I think the example of metaverse is that metaverse thing was just stupid, right? It's
ouch.
just dumb.
I don't
It's
think
just
we here at the Casa podcast would stand
no,
behind that
no, no,
statement.
no, no. It was
Mark
just it
Zuckerberg
was
is a
just
genius, and whatever he
yeah. I
does,
mean, I mean, I understand what Prime is saying, right? It's a different kind of project. Like you
Mhm,
go into this imaginary place and buy real estate and buy a land there and all like it's like a video game type thing, right? But I think the AI is a little different because we using it for like stuff,
mm,
right? If
mm,
they've used even when you go to robotics have done a
mhm,
lot of good stuff, right? It's
mhm,
saved us even in healthcare and
mhm,
wherever. Like people have driving Teslas while they're sleeping. I won't recommend that, but we've come far, right? So we've seen like real life effect
mhm,
of it, the good
mhm.
stuff. We've seen it, right? As compared to metaverse where it was just you go into wherever you buy a land somewhere, right? So I understand what Prime is saying, but I think
Mm.
it's two different
Types of
things.
products.
Yeah,
Okay.
two different types of product.
Nope.
Yeah.
Prime is saying once it rolls out, we as humans may not like it, which is absolutely true. We may not like it. Michael Addo is saying, well, Prime, I love AI because
Oh
it
man.
will correct people like we said. When they make silly comments like Arsenal will prevent United from winning the league, laughable. Again, I would leave that be. The metaverse is practically AI. Yes, it's some version of AI, but it's more AR than AI. It's more
yeah,
augmented reality than artificial intelligence. But yeah,
yeah.
I completely see the similarities. And yes, at the end of the day, users are going to determine. The users are going to determine what survives, and not and it says nothing about the product itself. It's just that human beings can be very fickle. We may like something, and after a while, we don't like it anymore, and it doesn't make any money, and it stops. Look at all the nice TV shows that got canceled because people didn't watch them anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, the
Mm.
AI thing can go out of style, and it probably would die, but we don't know. But now let's talk about what we predict is going to happen. Let me start with Chris. Chris, where do you think we're going with this whole AI thing?
I mean, I think it has come to stay and it's going to get better and better. I
Mm,
mean, in all aspects, health,
mhm,
business,
mhm.
um, I mean, everything is going
Okay.
to help in everything because basically, day in, day out, we build or we accumulate a lot of data, information,
Mm,
everything. And this is going to help because basically AI is built behind data, like numerous data information. And so I think it's going to get better. Yeah.
okay. Okay. Chris thinks it's going to get better. That's a very positive and optimistic view. Quasi, what do you think? Where do you think we're
Um,
going?
I mean, I think we could be heading towards the right direction.
Mm,
Personally, I like it. It's people that I'm worried about, right? Because prime example, I've been in a space where in an environment or a team where we're doing predictive analytics, right? Where they
mhm,
were predicting who's gonna walk through the ER first.
mm,
Like who's gonna walk through the ER, and they're
mhm,
using the data. They're using people's prescription. The last time you saw your doctor, they
mhm,
were doing those predictive analytics, right?
mhm,
So I think it's a good thing, right? If we could train these AI, not AR, almost so AR, AI, I know Prime got me off for the metaverse thing.
mhm,
If we could train this AI efficiently, right?
mhm,
There's a lot of good things, especially like
mm,
healthcare, right?
mm,
It's a lot of good things. My only problem
mm,
is when if it predicts whatever we're looking for, right? What are we gonna do with it?
mm,
It's because we're human, right? Like the example that I gave, if it predicts that John Doe has diabetes. So 6 weeks from now, if they don't do this, they're gonna be in the ER, right? How is the insurance company going to use this? How is
Mm,
the hospital going to use this?
mm,
Because these are
mm,
two different people, right? The
mm.
insurance might be looking like, okay, let's jack up the premium, right?
Mhm.
The doctor might be looking at, okay, let's get to her and let her take her medicine
Preventive
to prevent it.
medicine.
So I don't think it's. I think there's a lot of good
Mm,
things that can come
mm,
out of it, but when it spits out its results or whatever it's putting out, right? The
mhm,
aftermath of that is what I'm worried about.
mm,
The
mm,
human part of it is
mm.
what I'm worried about, right? Because you
That's
said it, right? If we
mhm,
can give two people knives and one will
mhm,
cut apples
mhm,
and make dinner with it, and the other could do whatever,
mhm.
right?
Absolutely.
So
That's
yeah,
wonderful. That's an
um,
interesting conundrum to posit at
yeah,
the end of the show.
yeah.
That after we get the AI to do its job, it still
Hmm.
falls on the lap of human beings to make decisions based on the prescriptions the AI
Yeah,
is making. And
yeah.
interesting. AY, where do you see us going? Where are we going?
I think it's here to stay. That's what I
Mm.
think. Yeah.
The here to
So,
stay people are winning today.
oh, not that it's going to be popular or it's going to be like widespread. Everyone will be using it.
Mm.
I think it will be there. If you
Mm.
want to use it, use
You
it and
can.
use it wisely. That's what I
Mm.
think. I think it will be there.
Mm.
It's not going anywhere. It's not like the metaverse or the 3D something something prime
Mhm.
mentioned and
Mhm.
then now nobody's patronizing it, right? This is something that will help you make your life easier.
Mm.
And so I don't see it being, you know, taken away unless
Mm.
the programmers think, okay, now we are tired of it, right?
Mm.
But it's here to stay, and AI is going to make our life easier. So we have to start getting used to it now.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's here to stay, and AI is going to make our lives easier. I think my final take on where I think it's going to go is the AI itself might not go anywhere, like Effia and Chris have already pointed out. I think people are going to get better at using it. Good people are going to get very good at using it. We're going to make applications and other things. We're going to use it in ways that we've not thought about just yet. Just like the internet, right? When it first emerged, a lot of people had their doubts. A lot of people foresaw the dark web and all the bad things that could happen, conspiracy theories propagated, and all the wonderful things it could do to. And the truth is, just like that too, people got to learn how to use it. And today, look, we're doing a podcast live based on the internet, and you're watching us, and all these great things. Hopefully, AI can help make the Casa podcast even better, give us better ways to serve our audience and all that. And I want us to not all forget that there would be bad actors too, and bad actors are also going to try their best to corrupt the tool and use it for all sorts of malicious things.
Mhm.
But this is where I feel happy, and at least when I look at the future of AI, this is where I get excited. The power is in our hands. The power comes down to humanity. It comes down to you and I, what we do with it, the role we want to play. We can build applications that can always be put us ahead of the bad guys. We can help humanity in so many ways, like Chrissy was pointing out. The advancements in medicine, the advancements in tech, the advancements in education, especially for the developing world. AI can lift most of our activities and take them to the next level. So I'm hopeful when I think about it. And I'm hopeful when I think about it because I know there are a lot of wonderful people like you and I who are going to be using AI. And so we probably would end the conversation on AI on a very positive note, knowing that we have a role to play.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
not at
yeah.
the mercy of these robots and computers. We are in charge, and we can take the power of these computers and robots and AI and do a lot of good in this world and take development so far ahead of where it's supposed to be. And so start using it, start learning to use it, start learning to live in that ecosystem, start learning to write better algorithms, write better programs, and be a better user of the AI technology. And let's make it work.
Facts, facts,
Let's make it awesome.
facts only.
Let's make it awesome. So yeah, I really like to end on a positive note, and hopefully our next podcast we don't have to come back to AI conversation. I think we need a break from the AI and tech stuff. I want
Yeah.
to do something fun. I want to do something fun like watching Ifya Yeboah tell us her pickup lines. Or even watching Chris. I know Chris has a lot of game. As for Kwesi, he has no game, but he's going to claim he's
I'm
on pension.
retired. I'm
He's
retired.
retired. Yeah,
I'm
that's exactly
retired.
what he's going to say. But we
I
saw him
got
when he
off.
was
I
in the
got
game.
off. I got off the streets,
We saw you when you were in the game. You
and I
had
came
absolutely
inside the
no game.
house. I left the street, and I came inside the house.
Okay, well, now that you're inside the house, would you want to sign up for the show?
Yeah. This was an interesting conversation. We enjoyed the comment. Chris had some solid points. Kojo, as usual, Efia Yeboah with the punches. Kwame was in the comments, just misbehaving as usual. That's expected. I pray for him. I pray for my boy Rashid. Everybody that joined, we appreciate you. Come in and comment, hit the like, subscribe button. We're here every Sunday. We'll tell you the time later. You know the time. You know what it is.
The time is 7 p.m.
This,
GMT.
okay, the time is 7 p.m. GMT, 2 p.m., 1 p.m. Central, 2 Eastern. Forget my Pacific folks. You're making Banco and we don't care about Banco. But that's okay because you're rude to me. But I didn't mention any names. But guys, we appreciate you being here. We love you being here. We love having you. We appreciate you guys having us. As Kwame would say, I don't talk sense a lot, but when I talk sense, it is what you say. It's some Mike Tyson punches, but uh, we'll catch you again next week, same time. Have a great week.
Adios.
God bless you and your family
Mhm.
and everybody you love. And I wish nothing but the best. Good luck to everybody.
Wonderful, guys. See you in the next one,
Yeah.
then, right? From us here, the Tribe Aids.
Adios.
Bye. What